Welcome to the official kickoff of Fantasia, where we gather to remember the light beings that we are and to consciously create reality from a space of love. I'm Laura Giles, and in our debut episode, I'm going to share what Fantasia is all about and hope that if it resonates with you, you will join the mission to become a conscious, heart led co creator too. Make sure you stay tuned to the end for how to join my free group where you can have support for that journey into becoming your creative loving self. So I'm your host, Laura Giles, and I'm a jack of all trades kind of gal. I do a lot of things because I'm interested in a lot of different things, and all of them have one thing in common. Ever since I was a little kid, I really enjoyed being with people when their light comes on. I didn't really know how to talk about that or describe what it was, but everything I've done has had that at the heart of it. When I was a professional belly dancer, I danced for Arabs, and I wanted to be there when their hearts lit up and enjoy that light. As a sacred travel tour facilitator, it's really easy to put people in a place that happens quite naturally because nature is so amazing. And sacred travel places just open us up. And of course, the groups are always so warm and welcoming that this grounded, earthy feeling and light, high spiritual feeling blends into this really special glow that everyone can see and feel. And you might think that as working as a trauma therapist would be the opposite of that. I think most people think that I listen to horror stories and hear people complain all day. And I suppose to some degree that's true, but the darker it is, the easier it is to see the light come on, right? I mean, if you're going stargazing, you go out to where the sky is the darkest, so it's easier to see. And I found out very early in my counseling career that healing from trauma provides the absolute best opportunity for a complete transformation. It's like a snake molting or a caterpillar morphing into a butterfly. So I was asking myself, why isn't anybody in mental health talking about paranormal PTSD? We live in a world where people are begging for full government disclosure. They want to know what's going on. We have shows about Bigfoot that are a huge hit. Skinwalker Ranch is another show that is about weird paranormal things that are going on out west. And this is something that we need to normalize and talk about. So I created a podcast dedicated to paranormal PTSD. While I know a whole lot about trauma and how to heal from it, I didn't really know a lot about the paranormal things that scare people. And the more research I did, the darker things became. It also became more and more negative. There's so much fear in that community that I had to get out. That's not my vibe at all. As I said, I want to be there when the light comes on, but there is still an issue of how to navigate in this strange new world. We live in a time of in between. I think a lot of us believe that we are in the dawning of the Age of Aquarius. We have technological breakthroughs and scientific developments that say we are not in Kansas anymore. Things are not what we thought they were. Spirits are real, cancer is curable, energy medicine is real, miracles happen. Otherworldly creatures are right here. Nature and magic have merged, and we need to learn how to live in this new reality. And we can go the route of fear and go into it with guns blazing, and I don't even know what that looks like, or we can walk into it from a place of power and conscious co creation because we are creation beings. We already do create our realities. We just aren't aware of this. Now, how do I know this? When I was doing the Paranormal PTSD podcast, we had a private group where we were doing thought experiments to find out what was real. It's a very open, hey, let's talk about this or let's try this type of group where we were experimenting with our metaphors for reality. You see, reality is not what we think it is. It's created by symbols and metaphors. For example, I might go see a doctor for a neck strain and nobody can really fix it. It doesn't matter. If I see a doctor, chiropractor, or physical therapist, nobody can really do anything for me. Then one day I'm so frustrated at work that I just scream, "This job is such a pain in my neck." And saying it aloud makes it conscious that I created the pain in my neck because that's how I perceive my job. The pain isn't physical at all. It's a program that I'm running to get me to pay attention to how much I don't like my job. People talk about manifesting what they want, but they try to do that from the conscious mind, and the conscious mind can't create anything. It's like trying to change the movie by getting a new projector. The conscious mind just plays what's on the film. If you want to change the movie, you have to change the unconscious or the film. That's the creator. When we explore the metaphors and identify what those are, now we have the information that we need to see what our reality is really like. And now we can make some changes. I might think I'm changing my whole life around by taking a new job, moving to a new place, and getting a new boyfriend. But usually that doesn't work because I take me wherever I go. So I have to change the inside of me, right? Imagine this is like Bastion in the movie The Never Ending Story. Now, if you haven't guessed, that's where the name for the podcast comes from. The land that Bastion visits is called Fantasia. He's reading a book about Fantasia being swallowed by the nothing, and Bastion is the one who can stop it, but he doesn't believe he has the power. His mother has died. His father tells him to stop pretending, stop living in his imagination, and grow up. He wants to please his father, so he can't allow himself to believe that it's his imagination can bring anything to life. And that's where we are now. We're all here in Fantasia. We're creating monsters and nightmares, and we have no idea of our immense power. We feel cut off and disconnected, and we think that we're going to find that warm and wonderful feeling when we get married, get a degree, buy a house, have a new home, or whatever that thing is. But some of us already know that that won't happen. So lots of us give up. I'll be talking about Fantasia in depth, but right now, I will say that the movie does have a happy ending. Bastian finds the courage to believe in himself and in joyful things, and I believe we can too. I believe it matters. We can create chaos or we can create connection. I recently saw this story about a dog who gets on a train every day. So this is a true story. Then he transfers to a bus and then another train or bus. It's a lot of transfers every day until he's like 30 kilometers away at a park. And everyone lets him do this because they found out that his caretaker died 2 years before. And once a week, they would take this route to this park so that they could play together. And I think the dog is retracing his steps and hoping to find his partner. It's like the Nat King Cole song Somewhere Along the Way that says, "So now I look for you along the avenue. And as I wander, I pray that someday soon I'll find you somewhere along the way." I want to be the kind of person who inspires that kind of love and loyalty. Don't you? I know that when we're afraid and it's dark, cold, and life is hard, we can be like Bastion and think that we have no power. I recently went to flood damaged Western North Carolina, and it looks like a war zone. It looks like nobody could have possibly survived such an awesome and horrible force of nature. But the people and animals were still standing. And everyone I met had this serene glow about them. It was like they knew they were protected and experienced a miracle. They knew they would be all right. That's where I think we are too. There's a lot of darkness out there. I don't know if the cryptids are real or not. I have no experience with that, but the extraterrestrials seem to be. Ghosts seem to be. Disease, economic collapse, and war all seem to be real threats. Trauma has plagued people for generations, so there could be things to worry about. But we're going to acknowledge the challenges and keep manifesting sunshine and community. We can do this. So, in the private group, we're doing these experiments of our reality constructs, and everybody has had illuminating experiences. So, I created a metaphor for what it's like to be in the Matrix, and I realized that I don't really think we're in a simulation. Reality might be a hologram, it might be a computer generated program, but I don't believe that I have no power. I believe that I'm a creation being. So when I did my metaphor for what that's like, it illuminated for me that I don't feel imprisoned by it. I'm not running a program that I can't get out of. I don't feel like I'm in the Truman Show. I feel outside of it or like it's running parallel to me. And that might not seem like a big distinction, but it is because it's a huge difference. And I left that session feeling empowered versus trapped. And since then, I can't tell you how much freer I have felt. The world is still the same as it was the day before I did that. We still have the same economy, the same bills, the same friends, the same enemies, if you want to call them that. But none of it matters. There's no attachment to any of it. And that's freedom. course, I want to be comfortable and stress-free, but even if I'm not, it doesn't matter. It feels like the game that it is. So I can run around and do side quests or build up my skills, or I can go for the boss fight. It's just a choice of how do I want to play the game. If I crash spectacularly, I can get up and try again. If I jump off the cliff and the game is over, I can reboot and try again. There's really nothing at stake. I'll still be here regardless. And once you lose your fear, life is a completely different experience. What matters isn't looks, money, fame, or any of that. What matters is self expression, connection, beauty, love, and things like that. All these things are around us in abundance, but so many of us never see them because we're too distracted by the superficial things in the games. We over identify with our bodies, our names, our families, or things that we associate with our identity. Our self is indescribable. It's big and light filled and indestructible. And lots of us walk around like it's this fragile thing that has to be protected. That's not who we are. I can't even say kings or queens or gods or goddesses. There are words that are not big enough for what we are. And in this podcast, we're going to be talking about how to help you figure that out. We may talk about trauma because it's what I know. Trauma is a huge obstacle to breaking out of that mindset. Trauma impacts our thinking and in such a way that we're always looking from a lens of fear and we don't even know it. The danger and limitations seem real. So we want to break through that. We're going to be talking about dreams, books, poetry, spiritual stuff, and all the things where you can find answers, touch the other side, be more of yourself, and have a felt sense of what the heck I'm talking about. Since I started talking about paranormal PTSD, my clients have too. And that spiritual side of life, that part is very different from the material part that we can explain and understand. It's something that we have to embrace as a part of who we are. We really are spirits having a human experience. And until we get them both at the same time working in the same direction, we're only half living. So we'll be exploring that too. I'm super excited about what's coming. Today's a new moon in Scorpio. I plan to launch for this day because new moons are a time of new beginnings, and Scorpio is the planet of transformation. What could be more auspicious or intentional? Liminal space is difficult to navigate. And if you feel the pressure of living in the dawn of Aquarius, when that altruistic, humanitarian, friendly, innovative, connecting energy of Aquarius isn't really here in full force yet, but you can feel that tornado-like energy as the spiritual energy of Pisces exits. And both are mingling with no dominant flow to follow. And you want some help staying grounded and navigating? Subscribe to the channel. That's what we're really doing. And there's no expert here. This is a choose your own adventure type of show. Maybe that's part of the shift as well. We're moving away from gurus and back to personal responsibility and trusting your own experience. I'll be exploring different topics and having guests share their experiences, but trust and believe that I'm not asking you to believe anything. Just keep an open mind, entertain different ideas, and see where it takes you. If you need to have everyone agree, we're not in the same space. I encourage different ideas because that's how I grow. I don't want to talk to only people who agree with me. And that's a great way to stunt my growth. I want to be challenged. I want you to be challenged. And I want your company. You're always welcome to comment. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, which is the planet of rebellion and revolution and unconventionality. That's the energy we need to shake things up and move us out of the status quo. So we're not here to change. We're here to transform. And that's a really different thing. We don't need groupthink. We need everyone to share their own heart-led secret sauce so that the seeds we sow today creates an amazing future for us all tomorrow. Subscribing to the channel and commenting on the podcast are a great way to tip your toe in the water, see how you like it. If you want to go a little further, you can join the free community. The link's in the show notes. Now, I say the community is free. It's not exactly free. There's no monetary charge, but you can't just come in and sit there. We practice reciprocity. Reciprocity is the exchange of energy. I give you something, you give me something. And that something that I'm asking you for is yourself. To share yourself. Post a question, share an opinion, share an experience. Show up. Life is begging you to show up. It's your life. I know a lot of people don't feel safe enough to do that in the real world, so come to the group and practice. It's a safe space. We all have healthy boundaries and nobody's going to bite you there. So if you come to the group and don't participate, you don't get to stay. It's that simple. Everything's energy. If there's a dead energy in the group, it's going to bring us down. And if everyone shows up with passion and purpose, it'll not only be a good time, but we will all accelerate each other's growth. And I'd rather have 5 lively, passionate people than 500 dead people or lurkers. I get that some people are shy. Believe it or not, I was really painfully shy as a child. So I do get it. And when you're invested in something, you put your big girl panties on and get her done. It's virtual, so you can hide behind the screen. So it's definitely not as terrifying as being face to face. We welcome introverts and shy people. Just like everything, if you're slow to warm up and need time to process your thoughts, it's okay. A little encouragement is enough. And if you're on fire, guess what? We have another group. This is invitation only, and the invites come from the public free group. So in this group, we meet around once a week for a more personal touch. We have a book club that meets once a month. So we're talking about inspirational books, and we learn from different authors. The books are usually short. They aren't always technically spiritual or inspirational. For example, we read The Old Man and the Sea, and I thought that was amazing for insight on how to live consciously. I was so in love with the main character, Santiago. He was who I hope to be. But sometimes we pick a bomb. You never know until you read it, but the gatherings are always insightful. We might do metaphor work or dream work. We could gather to have a talking circle. I love the talking circles. They are a chance to be seen and heard. So many people don't have anybody to talk to. They don't have that. So we talk at each other or are so distracted that we don't even have that on the superficial level, that superficial level of connection. And talking circles give you that high touch experience. Anybody can suggest a topic or an event. Anybody can lead an event. It really is a choose your own adventure type of thing. So the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. It's intended to be a community, not a cult, where there is one charismatic leader and everybody follows the guru line and has no independent thought. No. We want everyone to share their knowledge so that we all benefit. Now, like I said, this group, the private one, is invitation only. So you have to be in the public free group to get invited to this one. There's also a nominal monthly fee for the private one, and that's to pay for all the things we have to pay for. So it's pretty small. You probably spend more on coffee, so it shouldn't exclude anyone that's interested. Now, today is a Friday. I posted today to be in alignment with our new moon, but our podcast posting day is Wednesday, hump day. We're also on YouTube, and the posting schedule there is random. I'll always post the podcast, but there will be other things there too, like healing or wellness tips, audiobooks, poems. If you're a YouTube watcher, be sure to subscribe there. And the only social media platform I'm on is X. Facebook wouldn't let me register there. Not sure why. I got kicked off before I even created a profile, so it's just X. There's a public community on there too, so if you're on X and it's more convenient to chat there, you'll find the Fantasia community there. Now, in case you haven't already guessed, I love your input. So suggestions, feedbacks, comments, anything. I'm here for you. And I hope this is a two-way exchange, not just me talking to you or at you. If something moves you, disturbs you, or you just have questions about something, let me know. I want to know. So thanks for tuning into Fantasia. If you'd like to help us get off to a great start, please give us a review. That helps us so much. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you on Wednesday.
Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or Spotify so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, why not show your love with a review? Thanks. See you next week.